See, what are the things we had discussed? I'll just recap those things. So first thing, how to create the application in APMA environment and a classical approach. Classical approach right now, so we are not using the classical approach application creation. So we are just focusing on the APMA only in the real-time scenarios. Then we have seen the difference between these two approaches, isn't it? So the next thing is how to create the metadata manually. So managing the metadata in classical approach as well as in the EPMA. Okay, and after that, how to load the security file. Okay, so loading the security is nothing but creating the users and assigning the roles for that particular user. So we have seen. I think I'll show you those things. Okay. Then after that, data grids and data forms. How to load the data manually in classical approach. So we have seen that. So in Windows client we have an option like explore data where we can able to load the data manually over there. Then we have data grids and data forms which acts like a reporting tools to see the data. To modify the data or else so we can say like to load the data. And data grids, data forms differences we have seen, isn't it? Then so we should know about the rules now, member list, ICP transactions. Then had we discussed about the rules and member list? Yes, sir?
We did not discuss about the rules. I don't think both those topics were covered.
Rules and member list. Yeah. What about the ICP transaction?
ICP transactions also we did not cover. We just added the journals.
Okay. So today we are going to see about ICP transaction, rules and member list. Okay. So these are the main concepts and what we have to discuss, what we have to focus on this. Okay. So far we did about the general, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So today we are going to see about ICP transactions, rules, and the member list. First of all, I would like to introduce you about the ICP transactions. So what is ICP transactions? How we can do those things. See now. First of all, Prasad, mute yourself. today we are going to discuss about ICP transactions now. So what is ICP means? We can say like, so if we got any transactions between two entities of a single structure or single group, then we can say those kind of transactions are ICP transactions. Okay. See here. What is ICP? So a transaction between two entities of a single group, or we can say a transaction between two entities of a single group. So I am going to explain with a example. See, I have entity structure like US, so these are the chains for Connecticut. What we can say, what is the common parent for all these members like Connecticut, 3100, 4100 and these sets? What is the common parent? We can say US, Connecticut. US Connecticut is the common parent for these three chain members, isn't it? Yeah. So what is the common parent we can say for all these chains is US Connecticut. If you got, if you load any data at these levels like 3100 and 4100, so that difference amount we can see at the level of Connecticut. Okay. So what kind of data we are going to load, how these intercompany transactions will work, we'll see now. So now I got a transaction between 3100 to East Sales. Means 3100 bought the product from East Sales for, let's say, $5,000. So 3100 to East Sales. So that would be like, we can say, purchase transaction, and I got $5,000 data. Okay. So what we can say, this is the transaction, and we can say what is the account type. So purchase, so it's an expense account type. So we got the transaction between two entities of a single structure like Connecticut. So 3100 bought products from the East Sales, so for $5,000, and it's an expense account. And then similarly I got the transaction between 4100 to East Sales. So this is also same, the purchase transaction. So we can say like $6,000, and it is also same, expense account. Okay. So from the 3100 perspective, this transaction is purchase transaction. So if we consider East Sales, so according to the East Sales, what is this transaction? What we can say this transaction? It could be what transaction? So if we can say purchase transaction for 3100, according to East Sales, it would be, what is the replica of purchase? Sales. The same amount will be there for this transaction. Okay, and we can say this is the revenue account type. Okay, so account type shows us the behavior of the particular member. And what about the second transaction? it's an sales transaction. So similarly, $6,000 over there, and this is also revenue account. Okay. Now tell me how many transactions we got for 3100, for 4100, and east sales. So according to these transactions, we can assume that. So I got one transaction for expense account type. For 4100, similarly one transaction. Same for expense. And about east sales, we got two transactions. What are those? Those are revenue. So what the expense account type does and what is that revenue account type, and what it does. So expense amount will subtract, revenue amount will add it. Okay. Now, what is the amount we can say at the level of 3100? So we can say the amount would be like 31 for 3100 would be 5,000, and for 4100, so only one transaction, so we can say like 6,000. And what about this east sales? We can say what it will do. It will add or differentiate. It will submit because the account type is revenue, is going to add those data. Okay. So if we loaded the same values at the level of 3100, 4100 and east sales, we should see that $11,000 at the level of east sales. So we can say that is an intercompany difference amount. Okay, we can say it's an intercompany difference amount. See now, I am going to load these same values at the level of 3100, 4100 and east sales. So we should see 11,000 at the level of east sales, 5,000 at the level of 3100, 6,000 at the level of 4100. So open any application here. Loading that application. So when we load that application, we should go for the data grids, whether we have that intercompany transaction data grids or not. Okay. To check that, just go to administration and manage documents. So here, what are the transactions we have? What are the data grids we have? So these are the data grids we have here. So in these data grids, we should select ICP transactions like ICO elimination data grid, ICO entry data grid, and ICO transaction data grid. In these three data grids, select ICO entry to enter the ICP data into that particular data grid. Okay. See here, what are the what is the data we have entered for this 3100, 4100, and for this east sales. So what should we maintain? For east sales, I am giving, what is that amount? 3100 to East sales. It's a purchase transaction. It's a purchase transaction, $5,000. See, 3100 purchase interco to East sales would be 5,000. Okay. And similarly, 4100 to East sales. It's also purchase interco. Change is 6,000. Okay. Now, for East sales, what it would be? For East sales to 3100, so it's an sales transaction. So now we can say 5,000. Similarly, this is also we can say 6,000. Okay. Now I am going to submit this data in that particular data grid to see that elimination amount. So click on this icon to submit these values. Click on that. So the data has submitted. Now I am going to save this data grid. So you know about the data grid settings. So I am not going to discuss about those again. So just say OK here. Now we are going to see that elimination amount in that data grid like ICP elimination data grid. So just go to administration and say manage documents and click on ICO elimination data grid. See here. So this is the data what we have loaded for previously. So I have loaded this new data 5,000, 6,000, but the difference amount showing us the previous data. So we should see this $11,000 at the level of East sales. That is the difference amount. That's the intercompany difference amount. To get that, just open this data grid. Sorry. Yeah. So if we consolidate the data, then we will be getting the final amount at the level of parent. So consolidation is nothing but we have loaded the data at the level of base. So now we should get that final amount at the level of parent. So how we should get? So we should select that common parent for all these chains. Okay. So this is the common parent, United States, Connecticut. So right click on that. So when you click on consolidate all with the data, okay, we have three types of consolidation types. So first one is consolidate all with the data. Okay. So consolidation is done, naturally by the hierarchy. You don't need to consolidate by forcefully, So if you load it freshly at the level of base, by forcefully, if you'd like to consolidate the data, just click on consolidate all with the data. It will consolidate all the data at the level of sales to its parent. Now see what the data will be getting at the level of East sales. When this consolidation is done, we should get 11,000 over there. So it's going to consolidate that these base level members.
Can you repeat what those three options for consolidation are?
So consolidations are three types, Prasad. So first one is consolidate, second one is consolidate all, third one is consolidate all with the data. There is no difference between these things. So consolidate is nothing but it's done by that hierarchy only. What we are creating, the natural hierarchy will consolidate the data, no problem at all. So if you would like to consolidate by forcefully, then we go for consolidation like this. Right click on that and say consolidate all with the data like that. Okay. Okay. See here. Now the data has come. Okay. So this is the difference amount at the level of East sales. Now see 3100 at the level of 3100 we can do 5,000 and for 4100 6,000. Did you understand? But ICP transactions, how we are going to load those things and consolidate. Okay, can we move to another concept now? Do you have any questions?
Question I have is, I know this data can be loaded automatically also from GL, correct?
Exactly.
So
Yes. Exactly. Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
when we run the consolidation, it will naturally
Yeah.
take out the ICP intercompany profit at the common parent.
Yes. Yes. Okay, consolidation is done at the level of parent. Consolidation is done at the level of parent. Okay. So can we move to another concept like rules? Shall we?
Yes, yes. Let's go to the rules.
Yeah. So rules is nothing but we can say like for example, let's say if the natural hierarchy is not supporting us, like for example, we are loading the data at the level of base level members. We know that. Okay, we can't load the data at the level of parent. Okay, so if you would like to do, you know, if we are going to like what we can say at the level of sales or base level members, you would like to restrict the data, what you would like to do. So you can do that using the rules. So what is the purpose of rule means? If you would like to restrict the data at the level of yeah. So what is the purpose of rule means? We have the data at the level of base level members and at the level of parent level members. If you would like to restrict the data at the level of base, and if you would like to load the data at the level of what we can say parent, then we should go for rules. So just select any application over there, or I would like to select this HFM application. Open this. So do we have any data or not? We'll see now. Use the credentials. No, we don't have. Open another application. Click on export data. Whether do we have any data or not? This. Okay. We don't have any data for this also. Just go for load that data, or else we can move with another application in the server. Okay, so select any application over here in Windows client. So click on export data, or else before clicking on the export data, we should select that application over there. So click on connect, say PC, and connect. View the credentials. Clicking on the export data over there. See, we have the data for this Mobisi application. Okay. So someone has applied the rules over there. So see, I am going to apply input rule for this sales. So what is the status of each cell? So if the status filled with the green color, we can if the cell is filled with the green color, so dark green, we can say that we can't load the data. So it's nothing but we can say practically it's a parent level. Parent level members won't load the data, so won't allow the data to load. Okay, and so this says is a child level member, but it is showing us so you can't load the data for January period at the level of sales. Okay, because someone applied no input rule at the level of sales. Okay, how many rules we have in HFMNs? We have 8 rules. Okay, what are those 8 rules? We'll see now. So what is the purpose of each rule? How we are going to use that? Each rule. What is the syntax? Because the rules depends on the VB script. Okay, so we should know the VB script syntax before moving into this HFM rules. Okay, so so just go through that VB script syntaxes and you can get it easily over there. So but here in this HFM rules we are just using one syntax like hs.exp. Okay, that's a basic function for these rules. Okay, so that's a predefined function for starting the rules in HFM. Okay, see. So I'll go with that presentation of rules, then we can move with this rules concept practically. Okay.
Do you have any presentation on the rules?
Yeah.
You sent a document.
Yeah. You got the doc? You got the doc?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you you went through that?
A little bit actually, not much.
Actually, the thing
But,
is, if you go through that, we'll just go directly in a practical way. We'll see the theoretical part.
Yeah.
You want me to go through that presentation or?
Yeah, if you
Yeah, sure. So Hyperion Financial Management. So just mute, Prasad.
Yeah.
So what is the purpose of each rule? Why we go for these rules? See, so this presentation includes overview of HFM rules, types of rules, basics of HFM rule writing syntax. So we know about the, if you go through the table scripting syntax, you can get it. I'm getting echo, please mute.
Oh, sorry.
So what are the best practices in rules writing? So what are the important rules like, among 8 rules we'll see now. Okay. What are the prerequisites? So we should know about HFM, how the consolidation is done. So you know that. So if you know how the consolidation is done in HFM practically, we can move with these rules. Okay. So now what we are going to cover in this presentation. So rules overview. So what is constant and what is variable? What is object and functions? Because these things we had, we had a discussion in the C programming or C++. So these are the basic things we should know about, when we move into this rules. And remaining things, all are, it depends on the requirement we go for that. Yeah, tell me.
No, I have a pretty decent knowledge of VB. I used to teach at university, so we can skip. And if this presentation is available, then maybe it will be a refresher for those other folks that are in the class could do.
Okay, I'm just discuss about rules. Okay, I'm not going for VB script.
Yeah.
Those are the just basics. So if we have basic knowledge on VB script, that's fine. Okay. So what is the purpose of each rule? How we go into that? We'll see. See here, rules validate. So what is the purpose of each rule or there? So how many rules we have means we have 8 rules. So in those 8 rules, what are the important rules? Here we have so like what is the first rule you can see here? Calculations. So calculation rule does powerful customized calculations like ratios and variances. Okay, so actually naturally the hierarchy does the consolidation and does the calculation. Like if you have net profit, the for the net profit, if you have the sales like sales and purchases. Okay, once you load the data at the level of sales and purchases, automatically the calculation is done at the level of net profit. That's one type of calculation if we create that natural hierarchy. Okay, so if you would like to find out the ratios or variances of that particular data, then that natural hierarchy doesn't support us. Then we need calculation rule to do that. Okay? See here, hierarchical aggregation is in built functionality. Okay? For that, we don't need rules. So if we are using powerful customized calculations like ratios and variances, then we go for rules. Okay. And what about translations? So translations is nothing but we can say currency translation. So that one word is nothing but because the organization structure has multiple currencies or multiple locations, then definitely we use multiple currencies. Okay, currency translations. Okay. See here, what is the purpose of translation rule? So, well, that hierarchy supports the translation, or we know we have to go for that translation rule. See, so we are creating closing rate and average rate at the level of app setting dimension. Okay, in the app setting dimension, we have default rate for balance account and default rate for flow account attributes. So if we create closing rate and average rate for those attributes, then we don't need rules. Okay, if you'd like to find out the complex conversions like exchange rate differences and historic rates, to find out the historical rate or exchange rate differences, then we need translation. Okay, and what about allocation? So allocation rule shows us, it, I mean, it doesn't depends on the what type of allocation. If you would like to allocate any data from one place to another, or one entity to another, or one source to multiple destinations, whether it may be simple or complex, you go for this allocation rule. Okay, and what about data entry? So data entry rule is nothing but no input and input rules. Okay, if you like to restrict the data at the level of base, you need no input. If you like to allow the data at the level of parent, so naturally the parent members won't allow the data. Okay, but if you like to do that, then we use input rule. Okay. So rules custom cancel, so if you like to do the custom consolidation, HFM itself is a consolidation tool. Okay, so when that hierarchy, what we are creating that HFM doesn't support the custom consolidation, okay, then we go for custom consolidation. So we have one dimension over there like console method. Using that dimension, we are going for custom consolidation. Okay, so custom consolidation, for that we need rules. So rules help in tuning HFM to the business requirements. Okay? So if the natural hierarchy support us, we don't need any rules. Okay? If you would like to do anything apart from the hierarchy, then we go for rules. Okay? Rules are the heart of these applications. Okay? So just give me 1 second. Sorry. see here. So these are the basic rules we have. We should know about these rules. So if you know about these rules very confidently, then you can do any requirement using these rules concept. Okay. Now see here, what are the types of rules? Okay. See here, what are the types of rules we have? So we have calculations. We have seen what is the purpose of calculation rule, and what is the syntax. We'll see, and what is the purpose of translation. If you would like to translate forcefully the currency, then we go for this rule. Okay? And what about the allocation? So allocation rule is nothing but you would like to transfer the data from one location to another location. Like we can say from one source to multiple destinations. Then we use this allocation. And what about consolidation? So consolidation is done by the two, but if we would like to do custom consolidation, then we use this consolidation. And what about knowing? If we would like to restrict the data in the base level members, we use this knowing. Input rule shows us if we would like to load the data at the level of parent, then we can use this. Okay. So dynamic calculations are somewhat different to these rules. So these are the rules we are using temporarily. Okay. So so this rule doesn't store any data or any member. Okay. If you like to do custom calculations, like we can say like, so custom calculation is done using this dynamic calculations. Okay. Those are not static. Okay. Then what about these transactions? So transaction rule is nothing but if you like to do the transactions under ICP. So ICP is nothing but intercompany transactions. So if you like to modify those intercompany transactions, then we go for this transaction. Okay. So these are the basic types of rules, right? So see here, what is the purpose of each rule? Okay, why we are using. So first, calculation. So calculation scripts are written to perform customized calculations, like to find out the ratios and variances. Then we use these calculations. So use it to derive ratios or opening balances. We know that. So also used for clearing variables and values from accounts. It means if you have any data and all the account hierarchy, if you like to clear those data, so then we can use this calculation rule to clear the data and we can load fresh data. Okay. And perform ad hoc calculations. So ad hoc calculations is nothing but, okay, this is comes under smart view. So if you'd like to perform analysis, if you'd like to analyze the data, we import that HFM data into Excel and analyze that. Okay. Now, what about translation? So translation rules are used to perform calculations used in complex translations. So just translation is nothing but we can say currency translation. Okay. So translations requiring historical rates, isn't it? So if you like to convert from one currency to another currency, we should know what is that rate. Then only we can move that particular currency to another currency. Okay. Then applying specific rates to specific accounts. So we would like to assign particular static amount or static rate to that account. To the rate what we are creating in that app settings. In any dimension. Then we should use this translation rule. Okay. Specific rates to calculate translation difference related to net revenue. Okay. So this is about translation. Then what about allocation rule? So if you go through this example, you can get it what is allocation rule, what it does. Okay. So allocation either it may be simple or complex. You go for this rule. Okay. So allocate data from one entity to another, single source to multiple destinations. Okay. So what is that perfect example for this allocation rule? If you have the hierarchy like X, okay, so for that X entity, we have the chains like A, B, C. Okay. If you like to, allocate the data what we have at the level of X to the chains like A, B, C, then we use this allocation. So we are going to allocate the data in terms of percentages over there. So see here, so we have the parent entity X has SGA means selling, general, and administrative expenses, okay, of $100. So this $100 is going to allocate for these three chains. How he is going to allocate? See here, HGA of A. So from $100, we are going to assign or allocate 50% of dollars, I mean that particular data to A. And what about this B? So 30% of data is going to allocate, and C 20%. So this is what that allocation type does. Okay, that allocation rule does. Okay. Do you have any questions apart from this?
No, yeah.
Yeah. See, and what about consolidation? So consolidation rule does custom consolidation. So if you would like to do the custom consolidation, then we can move with this rule. Or else, so if the hierarchy supports the consolidation, no need of these rules. Okay. So consolidation process involves entering currency rates, percent consolidation, and ownership information. Okay. So actually we have two types over there. So one is standard and the second one is non-standard. So standard consolidation does by the hierarchy, non-standard does by the custom consolidation. What we have the dimension like console method over there. So using that console method dimension, we go for the custom consolidation. Okay. So simply we can say the example like statutory requirements usually are non-standard. Okay. So default consolidation process is done by the national hierarchy. See. So consolidation rules are only active when the application setting for consolidation rules is enabled. So where you can see the consolidation rule attribute in the app settings. Did you see that? See, I'll show you now. Go to manage metadata over there. See app settings. In that app setting dimension, we have the data type attribute type consolidation rules. Okay, so we have three tabs over here. So S, no, R. Okay, so depends on this, you are going to consolidate like custom consolidation. Okay, so if you use S, then that particular scenario allows us for the custom consolidation. If you say no, it won't allow for the custom consolidation. So it say or, so it allows that custom consolidation along with that email notification. Okay. So this is about the attribute. And now see input. So we can say simply we would like to load the data at the level of parent. So input rules enables the data to be entered at the parent entity level. So by default, data cannot be entered at parent entity, isn't it? So only the entity currency value dimension is supported for the input rules. So for the adjustments, value dimension, only the general data can be entered. Okay? So that the rest of the value dimension members are rolled up, right? So this is about input rule. And what about no input? So no input rules prevent the data to be entered at the base entity level. So if you would like to restrict the data, so because we are loading the data at the level of base only, not at the level of parent or any, so descendants levels or ancestors levels like that. So we are going to load the data at the level of base. That's it. So if you would like to restrict the data at the level of base, then we go for this. That's it. So no input rules are needed for statutory requirements and prohibit data entry to enable specific calculations. So for what purpose we are restricting the data at the level of base. So if you like to do specific calculations, then we go for the no input. And what about dynamic calculations? So dynamic calculations are used to create or define formulas where are dynamically executed. So we'll see practically. So about that no input and input rule. So remaining things I'll give you one talk. So go to that. Once you got confident about these rules, you can do custom consolidation using these rules. Okay. So dynamic values are not stored members. I already told you so these are for just temporary calculations. So dynamic calculations can be performed only on the base accounts. This is very, very important. So where you are going to perform this, dynamic calculation. So dynamic calculations does at the level of base. Okay. So that particular dynamic calculations cannot be used on the parent accounts. And now, what about transaction? So transaction rules are valid for the ICT module in HFR. Okay. So transaction rules are valid for the ICT module in HFR. So when it valid means if you check this ICT module for the currencies, so we have one attribute like ICT under currency dimension. If you check that, then we can move with that transaction, or else it won't allow to do that transaction. So where is that? So I'll show you. So it can be executed on accounts and scenarios which supports the intercompany transactions. Okay. So it can be executed on what dimensions? Accounts and scenario dimensions which supports the intercompany transactions. So where is that particular attribute? See here. We select currency dimension over there. See, display in ICP. If you check this, so the defaultly it will check, because so if you like to use the transaction rule, you can go for that, or else if you uncheck this, you can't do that transaction, you can't apply that transaction. Okay, so this is about rules concept. What are the rules we have? What is the purpose of each rule? We are using like that. Okay. Did you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So now we are going to see practical about these rules. See, so just click on explore data over there. No. Prasad? Prasad? Line. I know, but oh shit. See. Prasad? Prasad? Can you hear me, Prasad?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Sorry, unfortunately power has out. So click on Explore Data. See, so sales and purchases are the base given members process, but for the sales January, someone applied no input rule to restrict the data for January at the level of sales member. So I am going to use input rule to allow the data for the sales January. Okay, to do that, just go to rules editor over there. So this is the navigation path for rules editor for the classical approach. Or EPM system, financial management, and rules editor. Okay. So we use, in the real-time scenarios like EPM approach. In that EPM we can say calculation manager over there. So once you know this basic, you can do that, calculation management. So now this is the rules editor where we can perform the calculations. Okay. So I'm going to open the application now. Just click on HFM. Open the application. View the credentials. Connect to that application. Now I am going to load the rule now. So click on open rule. Or else we can click on this icon to open that rule. So we have these types of rules. So how many rules we have? 8 types. So in those, what are the rules? Allocation rule, calculation, consolidation, ICP, input, no input, and translate. So 1, 2, 3, 7. 7 rules are there. So what about that? Dynamic rule is, it's a custom user defined rule. You can use directly in that rules while performing that dynamic calculations. So these are the rules we have. Okay. Now what about this ICP? So ICP rule is nothing but a transaction rule. So don't assume this ICP we have separately. So transaction rule is nothing but ICP rule. Okay, transaction is nothing but if you would like to perform the ICP transaction rule, then we go for this rule. Now I am going to apply input rule for the sales January. Okay, click on input. .rle is the extension for that rules. Okay, so now I am going to apply the input rule for sales January. You should see that particular year is matching with that rules. 2000, here we have 2000. Sales, so this is the sales. And Sunnyvale, the entity is Sunnyvale. Everything is coming. Now, only that particular period. So, use this syntax to apply that particular rule. Now, go for load this rule. Click on S. Save. It is showing us load of current document was successful. Say OK to see that effect. So we should log off and log in again, relog in again to see that effect for that particular rule. Give the credentials. And click on explore data. Go for connect to that application. See? So now you can load the data at the level of sales in Java. Did you understand how the rule works now? So we can use any kind of rule, if the natural hierarchy doesn't support us the required. Okay. So this is about, so I am going to show you one more rule like. So I would like to restrict that data at the level of purchases. So I don't want to
So what
load the
happens
diff.
with rule right now? Is there an effect? Is there did the rule impact it here?
Yes. Previously, we have green color spaces at the level of CL's January,
Oh, I
right?
see. Okay.
Okay, I told you right. Anyway,
Right.
so
Right.
I'm recording the session, so just go through briefly about this.
Yeah. 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 Got it.
Now, I'm so we can load the data at the level of purchases now at any for any period, but I don't want to allow the data for these purchases. So what is the rule we have to apply for this kind of scenarios means we have to use no input rule. So I am going to use that no input rule to restrict the data at the level of purchases for all these periods. So just open the rules editor over there and click on open rule icon, select no input rule. I don't want to allow the data at the level of purchases. So is the syntax is perfect for that. So purchases 2000 Sunnywear. So it's a subroutine here. Okay. So subroutine is nothing but here the sub routine is a no input rule we are applying and HS dot rule. So HS is a predefined function. I already told you. So HS is a predefined function for applying the rules and member list. Okay. Now see here. So I am going to load this rule. Click on load icon. Say yes. Say again no input rule dot RLE. So load of current document was successful. Say OK here and log off and relog in. We'll see now the effect like at the purchase level we can't load the data. So we have restricted the data now. See the purchases we can't load the data because the status of that cell is green. So we can view the data but we can't load the data. You can understand now how the no input rule works. Okay. So this is about rules concept Prasad. Okay, so I'll send you one more document regarding that. So just go through that in depth about the rules because so once so if anybody has the rules knowledge, they should have better knowledge. Like there is very demand for the rules administration.
Yeah. Can you also send that presentation and those rule files, example rule files?
Sure. I'll send it. Okay.
That will be great.
Yeah. And see, so I'm just going to show you about the member list. So what is member list means? If you like to add the members to that existing hierarchy, we use member list. Okay. So what is the purpose of member list means? For example, let's say we have the chains like Sunnyvale and Forster City for the Connecticut state. So if you would like to add one more chain for that same hierarchy, then we go for that member list. Okay. So we are going to add members to that existing hierarchy using that member list. And we have two types of member list, Prasad. So one is member list, ENM member list, and the second one is ENM member in list. So ENM member list and ENM member in list, we'll see now the difference. So I'm going to load the member list directly into this application, like Mulvisi application over there. Click on it's not responding. Someone is working on the server. Yes, sir. Just give me 5 to 10 minutes break. So we'll be back. Okay, in 10 minutes.
Sounds
Yeah, the server is working. Yeah. Okay then. Thank you. Server is working. Yeah. Okay. See now, I'm going to show you the member list file over there. So we can take, that member list is in .lst format. Open it in Notepad to see, what it contains. Say okay.
I don't see anything on the screen. Are you projecting it right now or no?
How? Sorry.
I see disconnected.
Yeah. Now you can see. Now
Okay.
you can see, right?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah. See here. So how many types we have in member list? So we have two types, Professor. So one is, the subroutine here is enum member list, and we have enum member in list. Okay. So enum member list is, is a function where we can, know using this using this list, we can know that how many members we are going to load, what are they, what is the numerical ID of that particular member. This information we can know by using this enum member list. So it means here, so in this subroutine of enum member list, so we are going to load the members like entity list members like 7 members, value dimension members like 5, scenario dimension members like 2. These are all the dimension members. You are going to add these many members. Okay. So under entity, if you load this member list under entity dimension, you are going to load 7 members. So under value dimension, you are going to load 5 members. Under scenario, 2 members. Seems to be, how many members you are going to load under each dimension, you can know by using this enum member list. But if you would like to know about their names, we can know that using the enum member in list. So where we have enum member in list, we will see now. See here. So subroutine of enum member list here. In this enum member list, what is the dimension? What are the members you are going to add under this dimension? Okay. HS dot dimension is the predefined member list function for the member list. Okay. So HS dot exp is the default function for the rules. So here the HS is a predefined function to perform the member list functions and as well as the rules. So we can say member lists are the logical rules. Okay. So these are the differences between enum member in list and enum member list. So enum member list shows how many members you are going to load. Enum member in list, what are their names, or under which hierarchy you are going to add. So these kind of scenarios will be done using this member list. Are these important or not for HFM? Because for example, if they launch one new product, so they are going to use this member list to add that particular product to that hierarchy. Until and unless for example, let's say we can create that metadata. If we don't know, for example, that particular product, how to, like what we can say in the metadata, for example, if we are going to add one more product to that existing hierarchy in the custom dimensions, so it won't accept directly to create that new product or same product to that existing hierarchy, because that we have that member list to add new products to the existing hierarchy. Okay, so for adding new members, we go for member list. That's it, finally. Okay. So what we can say, one more thing about this member list. So if you would like to modify anything, so we have to extract that particular file to modify. Okay. For example, let's say if you would like to modify this member list, so you have to extract this member list for modification. Then only it accepts. So until and unless you haven't extracted that file to modify, that's not the correct way to do that. Okay? So we have to extract to get backup of that particular file as well as to modify. If you like to modify anything, whether it may be data or it may be metadata or rules or journals, so you have to extract. We have the extract things to where in as well as in classical approach as well as in APM. Okay. So once we loaded this member list file, we can see these things under the metadata. Okay. Where we can see this metadata now. So I'm going to show you now. I'm going to load the member list in workspace for that particular application. So I have application directory goes over there. Click on reports. It's loading that application now. See, so I'm going to load the member list. Okay. Once I loaded the member list into that particular grade, I can see that member. Okay. So what are the members I'm going to load that. For account dimension, let's say we need to check whether we have that particular members or not now. Okay. So for entity, I am going to load these members. Okay. First of all, we should check whether we have these members or not. So then go to workspace. Click on any point of view in that particular grid. Select entity dimension. Drop down this this window. Yeah, see here. These members are the member list members. What we have loaded. I think we have already loaded that member list. Okay. How many members we have loaded? See here. CT alloc, Dan USD currency. So if we see over there in that member list, Right. Did you understand now? Yes, sir. So if we load this member list,
Yeah.
where we can see those members. So we can see in any data grid under that particular dimension. Okay. Yeah.
Load them. Do they get loaded in the flat hierarchy?
Yeah, that .lst file it accepts. Okay. So when we loaded that member list, click on load member list over there. Browse that file. Select that .lst file, open it, and go for loading. Load it back. Okay. So this is the way to load that member list, right? So there is no errors and warnings. So to see that effect, are these members are loaded or not? Okay. Let's go to data tasks. Sorry, here what you can say documents, data grids. Select any data grid to see that are these members are loaded or not. So click on that point of view and select entity hierarchy. Drop down at that hierarchy level. So we are loading these members over there. Okay. For entity dimension, I am going to load these members. So click on any of these members. Drop down on it. Select Dan UD1 development. See, these are the members we have under this Dan UD1 development. So these are the custom, hierarchy creation. Okay, did you understand? Under this Dan UD1 development, these are the members we have. We'll check it now. If hs.entity is Dan UD1 development, what are the members we can see? So we can see under enum member in list subroutine. So what is the numerical ID of that? The member list ID. If that member list ID is, numerical ID is fire, what are the members we should see? If the numerical ID is fire, this is value dimension. Okay, see here, this is the entity dimension here, else if hs dot member list ID. the member ID is 5 for the entity. So there we have we use looping condition over there. Okay, this L bound and U bound is nothing but L bound is the lower level. It means we can say numerical ID 1, and the U bound is upper level. We can say numerical ID as 6. I think so. We have added 6 members. Okay, so if I is started from 1 to 6, what are the members we have to compare between these? Okay. So if we loaded this rule, we'll be getting these members under that particular hierarchy. See here, if we select that 3 entity, so I mean third entity member, so these members we can see. If the numerical ID is 3, what is the entity? We'll see now. So we can see geographical, west cells, east cells, and EME is cells. So it's not responding. If the entity numerical ID is 3, that is GEO cells. Okay. So what are the members we have selected under GEO cells? So what are the members we are going to load under this entity we'll see now. See here, we are going to load these things. Okay. So open that workspace, select that GEO cells, see GEO, graphical, west cells, east cells, and EME cells. You understand how we are going to add this member list under that particular dimension? Yes, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So, did you understand now the concept of member list now?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
this is about the rules and ICP transactions and member list. So, tomorrow we are going to see the final concept on in HFM, and along with that, FDM presentation will be there. Okay. So,
Is this
yeah.
is this file from a sample app or comma? Where is this one?
So you can use that file, no problem. Okay.
Which one? The sample app?
Simple demo file or comma file. It's up to you.
Okay.
Okay. So sir, this is about today's session. Tomorrow we are going to the final concept in HFM.
If you can, yeah. If you can send those files, that'll be great.
Sure, I can do.
And those individual RLE files.